Welcome everybody to TruExact Show. I'm here with Brian, Gilly, Eric, and our special guest here. We're going a little outside the realm. We're taking it to Vegas. We're going with the, now correct me if I'm wrong, man, 7-time Guinness World Record holder?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. Two-time World Cup trick shot champion, Florian Kohler, Florian Venom Kohler. How you doing, man?
I'm all right. How are you guys?
Awesome. First, we want to thank you for joining us. We know you're busy out there. Hope you're staying safe during this time and keeping busy. So what we like to do is first, before we get into your trick shots, which we definitely will because I have so many questions, I want to get a background of you. We like to get a background of our guests. So talk about your upbringing, man. I know you grew up in France and stuff, so like how you got in the pool and everything like that.
Yeah, so I started, when I was 18, I got a pool table. I didn't really know how to play. So, I looked at videos on the internet. And it was just the start of YouTube. I know it's hard to believe, but that was only, 12 years ago. And, it's the beginning. And rather than seeing a lot of tutorials and stuff like you see nowadays, it was mainly like a few short trick shot videos because nobody had good internet, right? So I started doing whatever I was seeing on there. And after a couple years, maybe less, I realized I knew all the trick shot they're doing the last 60 years. So from there, I basically started my own version of it, and I got lucky. I got a few videos get viral, and here I am today, pretty much. So pure product of the internet, really.
Now, with pool out in France, was it like a popular thing to do?
No, not at all. It's kind of like a small little things. I mean, not even bars have really pool tables anymore. So it's a very niche thing, right? I mean, on the west side of France, a little bit, and in the German side, which I am, it's not too bad as well, but it's still very little compared to the US. So
that's so weird to think that YouTube started only 12 years ago. It's like mind-boggling.
Well, I mean, think about it. It's not. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So when you said you didn't get a pool table until you're 18, now like that's such a late for me. Like that's something to pick up so late in life. It feels so like a lot of great pool players or musicians with instruments start when they're 4 or 5 years old. Ice skaters step on the ice at 3. Like, how did you just pick up a pool stick and get good at it?
I don't know. I guess it's just meant to be sometimes, you know what I mean? But trick shot's a little different too because it's not just about the abilities by itself. It's also the creativity of it. And there's no real shortcut or like secret behind it, right? It's mainly just you got, it's sort of like an art a little bit. So the creativity part, I don't think it matters, how old you are. You just actually it's probably better for me because I didn't have the preconceived background or idea that a normal pool player would have. Because if you have all those notions, they're preconceived, somebody's put you in your head, and your limit's already set. Mine's were never set, so I could just go and that's what happened. I just went all over the place. So.
Now, were you embarrassing people at like places? Like you would just go there and hustle them or anything?
Actually, see, the funny thing is, so I learned trick shots, and I didn't know how to play pool till much later, actually.
Wow. I
started learning to play real pool when I started to do shows, and then after the end of the show, people wanted me to play pool. I'm like, I can't really play pool. So a couple years later, then I decided, I got to take this seriously, and then I went to Germany, and every weekend I got my ass kicked by one of the greats out there, and I just rocked until 6 months later I got bored of it. So then I started to run table, and that was it. Then I learned how to play pool as well. So the hustling part is a little bit later.
That's really cool. I'll pass it around right now before I get another second.
I kind of had a theory because we were talking about it before, and I was like, how does someone actually get good at doing the trick shots? You got to have some sort of natural ability. Were you good at math in school?
No, I mean, I was okay. I mean, I never was bad at school, nothing like that, but I wouldn't say like, anything special. So
because the only reason I asked
creativity though I was, just the creativity more than anything.
Yeah, the only reason I asked is because like you figure with pool shots, it's about speed, velocity, putting spin on the ball, angles, things like that. So it's like all calculations pretty much. Like, and you're doing that in real time kind of,
I'd say, yeah, but it's still natural, so it's more instinctive than anything. So yeah, you see spacious, space-wise, I do got to say it's hard to explain to some people I teach sometimes on how to see the table. Like I see the table in a certain way that I don't think people see it. I see zones, I see triangles, I see probabilities and stuff like that. But I can't really explain it, It's just there. And it's always been there. So it's
chess pieces on the ceiling.
Not quite like that, but there's sort of a true thing to it. Like you do see diagrams that don't exist to an extent. So yeah, you got to visualize it. If you don't visualize it, you're dead. So
it kind of slows down to you, like the game, like
a little bit. You're right. Yeah. Actually, that's the best I would put it is this way. Yeah.
That's real cool, man.
Yeah,
So it's kind of, you can't even go on, Eric. Sorry.
I'm what you would consider a choke artist. So I'm watching your video of you trying to break these Guinness World Records. How do you get in the zone? Because that was me. I could be by myself and killing it. And then when somebody's like, go, I would not get one. So what do you do? Like, how do you get in the zone to do something like that? It looks exhausting.
Well, I mean, if I do practice for like World Championship stuff like that, everything I do, I always got to excel by 20, 30% more than I would usually do. Like, let's say if I'm, taking a score, and if I want to score 100 in the competition, I got to score 130 plus, in practice. So it's got to be perfection, because you're going to lose some of it during the live. Very rarely you're going to play just as good or better in a live setting, because you just control all the things. But then live never bothered me either. Like, it's just what it is. Like, once you're there, you can't come back. You're alone anyway, so you're kind of screwed. So, it's up to you no matter what. So you might as well make the best of it.
Yeah, that's interesting how it's like you could triple the world record by yourself, but just because that lady's not standing there with her notebook, it doesn't count. That must be frustrating in its own,
No, not really. I mean, actually, it's part of the game. I think it's great. You got to have some sort of legitimacy, because everybody can break a record. No, you could practice for months and just try, day after day after day till you get lucky. At some point, you're lucky. Does it really matter? Not quite, because you can't do it, in a matter of minutes or seconds. So story to me.
Is there one record that you're really proud of that would kind of crush you if it got broken?
When the start of the pandemic, I decided to go on a 24-hour rampage on trick shots. And I have the Guinness Book for the most trick shots made in 24 hours, and that's 753, something like that. So it's pretty tough, and I don't look forward to make it every day. So that would piss me off. I'll have to do it again.
I'm sure your family, if that got broken, you'd wake up and be like, "Hon, I have to do it again." No, come on.
Probably, yeah. I mean, the thing is, the percentage of success was so high, the rate, so it's going to be very tough for anybody taking it, because not only they got to last the time, but they also got to play real well. So this was tough to beat, I think, for people.
So you set up all the trick shots that you were going to do beforehand, like you had an order that you did, or you just random freestyle?
Well, actually, we have a World Championship system. Basically, when it's always the same shot, I think it's 120 shots, and it's always the same shot. They have diagrams and everything, and obviously, the Guinness World Record had to define what a trick shot was, so they used this. So it's not even my shot. It was just a random program that the World Association have, and that's pretty much it. So if it was my shot, it would be way higher number.
I'm gonna do the comparison again later on, but like it always reminds me of like magicians, how they create tricks. So do you have any that you've created, and do you have to run them through a system to get approved if you create one?
Well, I mean, I invented so many shots. I think over the years, about 10,000 were mine. But now they're everywhere. Some of them are one-time use. You just put in the video and it looks good, and it's about it. Sometimes you put in the video, it doesn't look good. And sometimes, rarely, they're good enough to be live, because live, you got to make it in 3 try stops, 5 maybe maximum. So, and that's the hard part, is to incorporate new ones that are hard enough and good-looking enough. So.
Do you understand how humble you are as a person? If I created 10,000 trick shots, I would never let my friends hear the end of it.
I would sign every email 10,000 trick shots. That's what I would say.
If I ever break a Guinness World Record, I'm going to wear it as a necklace around. So
yeah.
They're actually everywhere in my house. I don't even know what to do anymore with it. So.
Yeah, if somebody breaks the record, do you have to give those back? I would not. I would not.
No, you keep it. You keep the thing. You just got to, but if you re-break it again, you get a second one. So that's why you start to, start
to money and go back and forth.
I could see him putting like a fake mustache on and beating his own and just going back. So I want to go back to your upbringing though. Being, like I said, 18, that's a little late to get into something. Were you like aspiring to do anything else at that age? Because like that's like a senior in high school and whatnot.
Well, not really. I was studying to be a doctor type stuff. And so it's pretty good. It's cool, but like nothing. It wasn't really my thing. I just did it because I want to make money. So that was it. So I missed the big thing because we have a big I'll say that, a big big test in France. After the first 2 years, and depending on where you land, you're gonna end up in a certain jobs, right? So I ended up being an optometrist, which honestly, when I started work, was boring. So, but that was that was basically what I was planning to do it. And after a while, I just got so good at the trick shots, started to go traveling, had shows here and there, and I realized I was making just as much money doing something I liked and something I didn't really like. So then I took a gamble and I moved to the US, like not much, maybe $1,000 on my account, and I just told my parents, let me go. If I survive for 6 months, let me leave me alone, and if not, then I'll come back. I'll do whatever I'm supposed to do anyway. So
now, obviously, we grew up in the U.S. We're from New Jersey on the East Coast, so I love to ask, what was it like coming here from France? Was it like a culture shock? Were you intimidated? Nothing?
No, I always loved the U.S. The only thing that I did sort of wrong, I guess, is everybody, we're so used to the Hollywood movie that you move to LA, right? LA is a dump. So it's, that's just, it didn't last very long there. That's why I moved to Vegas. Vegas is a whole different thing, but probably one of my favorite cities in the world anyway. Not right now, obviously, but, it used to be.
So when you went out there, though, with everything going on with, like, gambling and other vices, were you like, oh shit, what's going on? How am I going to focus on my career here?
No, not really. No, that was the whole thing, was to be able to do, cheap shows all around the country, traveling a little bit around, some lessons, some trying to win some tournaments here and there, little gambling until you get a gun pulled on you, then you stop usually, So
did that happen to you?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Can you delve into that or no? It's up to you.
Well, I mean, it's just, you go in pretty crappy places, dive bars when it's very, very unsafe, I would say. And then you play a guy and you can't play anyway. So you beat him one time, then you beat him. I think that time I beat the guy one-handed after the second set, and he just anymore, he was just, he's just so mad. He's humiliated in his home bar, and I'm gonna freaking kill you and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
You told me that the next time I'll beat you with a gun to my head.
Yeah. Can you imagine? It's like, he beat me one-handed. I'm going to go spend the rest of my life in prison.
Well, the thing is, it's pool on a small table, the 7-foot bar books. It doesn't really matter if I get two hands or one hand. It's not as easy. But I mean, if anybody's good enough, then it won't matter. So.
Now I know Gilson up here used to watch trick shots on ESPN. Like that was one of the things. Billiards themselves wasn't that exciting, but when the trick shots were on, you kept them on because it was just like shit. I can't do this. Was there anyone growing up you looked up to? Were there anyone in the past that you idolized doing it or no?
Well, not really, because like I said, I came late to it, so not like a hero or anything like that, but in that, obviously the more, I understood the game, I was looking up to Mike Massey and those guys, but, unfortunately I came a little too late to the scene, and those guys destroyed themselves on TV, so, I didn't have much to come back to. I mean, I remember when Mike Massey was his prime, he was probably winning like 40 grand on ESPN. When I won it, that same exact tournament, it was like 7,000, so, difference already, but problem is it was such a little niche sport that the few people in control kind of tried to keep winning, even though they didn't have necessarily the ability or the talent or the creativity, and they just kind of bring everything down and got rid of all the people that are actually making the sport interesting and entertaining, and that's why we lost it kind of.
Wow, so the older people kind of shun the younger dudes from coming in?
Not really sort of, but it wasn't really the older one. The old timers, I'd say, they're pretty legendary on their own. They were fine. They understood what it was. But then a mid-generation kind of came in and just wanted to win. So they come up with some little, crappy little prop shots, how we call it, was using cones and rubber balls and all that kind of stuff. And it just kind of went so far away from the essence of trick shots. And then because they wanted to win, that they got rid of all the old timers. So they're not good enough anymore. Then a newcomer, I remember the first time I played, and you got to think of, I was 20, 21, I think, in Vegas, could barely have a drink, right? And I got no clue. I'm just going to go play. So I have my shots. I have, you have to have a diagram and description. I've got 2 lines and that's it, just a shot, the diagram, thinking, you see a diagram, I'm just going to do it, right? then I see those guys, they come in, they have diagrams, that big. You probably need an English degree just to read what they're trying to explain, right? And then they screw me on everything, like the way you're supposed to hit the shots. And I mean, it was just so bad that even looked bad on TV. And at that point, I realized I just got to, basically crush those guys. So
Good. Wow.
No respect for Mike Massey. I'm done with him. He was my guy growing up, and
Mike was a great guy. No, Mike's a great guy. Unfortunately, he was one of the guys that took out.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask if you were going to call him out on the show tonight and take the belt from him.
Well, Mike and I, we played a few times, but unfortunately, I never got to play him at his prime because that would have been interesting. So, I'm basically the guy who was one against him, but, it would have been nice to see me in his prime more than. But yeah, unfortunately, it took a guy like Mike. They took him out of the TV stuff because he was too good. He kept winning. So, and the same to me. But that's it. Now there's nothing left. So.
Well, that's what's cool though. Like, so you got taken out because like you're too good, but you got your own sponsorship and you're like doing it yourself. Like, how did that?
Pretty much, yeah.
Sponsorship.
What's that?
How did that come about? Where like people started noticing you, getting sponsorships and stuff like that?
Well, it's just a natural thing, on the internet. You just got to have presence and marketing, and it's about marketing yourself. And trick shot's always been an entertainment. It's much as competition is okay, it's never meant to be a competition. It's meant to, go out there, and if you do and you entertain the crowd like a magician, then you just, that's what you're paid to do, and that's what's supposed to be. Right. The competition has been kind of an ugly aspect of it, just because you needed to have somebody called better enough, but. There's so many people that they're terrible entertainer, but they're, great shots or great skillful. But, then the reverse is also true. Sometimes they're, great entertainer, but they can't really do much as far as skill goes. And I try to get, just pretty much everything because like coming late from a different background, from a different country, everybody hating me. They all, I had to make my proof. I had to win literally everything to get the respect of the peers and, the pool players in general.
Right. So it's kind of like a dunk contest or a three-point contest or a home run derby. It's not about winning, just entertaining the crowd. And I feel like I'm asking a lot of questions. So if anyone else wants to jump in.
I was going to ask because like in most things, when you succeed at that level, there are people that hang on and there are men that hang on, but then there's got to be a set of trick shot groupies that follow these tournaments around. Did you have any level of success where you felt a little bit more famous with the ladies because of your success?
You don't have to answer that if
definitely. Yeah, but that was early on.
Maybe we have some aspiring trick shotters out there that are struggling and they don't know that if you get out on the open market, you got a whole set of I don't know what they call them, pocket hose or whatever it is. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you go to a show in China, I remember, it was just do a show, you got like 10, 20 emails and, people asking married. It's crazy.
Nice. Wow. Oh, marriage.
Yeah, especially when you go to Chinese TVs, because it's, you're not talking American numbers in terms of viewership. You're talking like hundreds of millions. And it's just ridiculous. So, yeah, when you make it out there, it's just nuts. It's like... Yeah, and the simple fact of being actually like European, whatever, it's just even worse. So. But that was interesting, it was fun. It was fun while it was, so.
We'll keep it at that. We
comment anymore.
That's like a warning. Get ready for the emails, Scott.
Yeah, yeah. I'm ready.
Yeah, all the pool hose in Jersey. Are you? So you have a nickname, if I'm not correct. If I'm not.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
How did you? Your nickname is Venom.
Yeah, because I'm a poison for the tables.
Nice.
It's not
bit by a snake.
It's definitely not a joke.
Is that something that caught on, or you use that to market yourself, or how did that come about?
A little bit of both. Actually, it's my dad. They started. It says you're freaking poison, in French, to destroyed, and the walls and everything else in that room was just. It's just bad, right? So then we just kind of used it, and it's translated pretty well in English. So that just kind of stayed on. I think he actually sort of matched pretty well. So, but yeah, looking at my walls around right now, I'm not very proud. So
it's kind of cool though, because like it's such a subtle sport, and for it to be so aggressive, it kind of works. Like pool's calm, and then Venom. It's cool. It works.
I mean, I was there to break the codes anyway. You know what I mean? It's just the same as. They get the same as when it was for BMX and skateboard in the 90s, basically when all these crazy people exploded, you know, and decided to go completely berserk. You know, like guy does a backflip, then a double, then a triple backflip. Sort of the same with me, you know, it's just pool's been the same thing over and over the last 100 years. They're doing the same. And you have me coming in and just going and, you know, destroying tables. But once again, it's because I didn't have this limitation in place. And I just, you know, I just think everything was possible. Now it's harder now because I think, you know, I know the limits. But
Right.
I tell you one thing, it's going to be hard for another kid to actually come back now because they're going to have to break the codes again. And it's not so simple.
Right. Brian, Eric, anything?
Maybe you could be the one to kind of usher in the younger generations of the kids trying to come up, instead of being that, like, you know how you were saying when you came in, you saw a lot of resistance. A lot of people were trying to kind of hold you back and be like, no, this is our spot. You know, maybe you can kind of help to change the dynamic on that, you know?
Well, actually, that's why I'm doing, you know, I love to post stuff on my Facebook page of every kid or whatever that's sending me something that's cool. I always post it. I mean, actually, I'm missing that, you know, because I think right now there's nobody that can really touch me, to be quite honest with you.
Nice.
I would love somebody actually come up and like do some really challenging stuff, because that would motivate me again, because it's really hard to, you know, keep motivated when you reach basically your goals. So, and I actually am looking forward to see somebody really, you know, pushing me again. That would be nice.
It's
Looks like I need to buy a pool table then.
It's it's like when Borg was too good and McEnroe came up. It's kind of like that. He was winning all the fucking majors in tennis, and then McEnroe came and challenged him.
Well, and the thing is, you know, in tennis and all those, there's like a physical, you know, that age limit, right?
Right.
Pool, my age limit is probably more in the 50s. You know, if I keep being sort of in shape, I should be fine. I'll lose probably a little speed here and there, but sure, you can compensate with it. So there's a lot too. So I'm waiting impatiently to see somebody actually for once not copying my stuff, but doing their own thing.
I love Florian. Florian's throwing shots at people. It's fucking great. It's not
How do you stay in shape? What do you do to keep yourself in shape so you're playing the best you can play?
Well, I mean, I try to practice obviously pool, three cushion, or you know, trick shots every other day, every day, something like that. If the weather's good, I go for runs, you know, every week. That's about it. Other than that, you know, just got to keep your head in the game, and yeah, just try to keep in shape basically in practice. You know, doesn't matter what you do, because it's huge sport related. It helps.
Is there any other sport that helps you out with pool? Like a ping pong or a dart, something that you could train other than pool?
Well, actually, I'm a black belt in judo. I'm pretty good at
Wow.
not really, I think, but, you know, and yeah, I don't know. I just, I always liked sport, really, but, you know.
Now, how'd
I
you
don't-
get into judo?
How? That was actually something I started when I was 6 years old. So that's something I did all before that. Then I broke a little too many bones and stuff like that, so.
So you're a pool player who could kick someone's ass if it came down to it.
I guess. I mean, you have to really look forward to it, you know.
Go on, Bryce, sorry.
I was going to ask if you thought about taking that guy down when he pulled a gun on you.
I was thinking that
a
too.
little judo something.
This, you know, all those martial arts, they're all bullshit, you know, like, you know, like, you just got to run, you know.
Can you catch a bullet? What do you think because like if you look at the BMX games and you know, the snowboarding tricks and stuff, it just looks more and more insane every year. What do you think the future of trick shot pool looks like? You know, to someone who may not really follow it as much as other people, what would the future? What do you think it'll be like?
Well, I think right now the limitations are budget-wise. You know, all those guys, they, you know, if you take the Travis Pastrana, all those people, they have huge budget, right? They're able to actually grow the sport as fast as they are because they can grow all the stuff that comes with it. You know, in my case, you know, pool is kind of small, it's kind of a niche sport, and budgets are what they are. So as much as I want to push it, you know, it's not too more. I'm going to be able to shoot a cubo from a helicopter or something like that, you know what I mean? And I think this could be basically the next thing. I mean, we've pushed it pretty far already with our own, you know, ways. I mean, I've put the pool table in the desert. We've had dune buggies around. I mean, we did actually do something with the helicopter, you know, on the airport, but it would have to be pushed even further, because I think on the pool table by itself right now, I think we're sort of a saturation a little bit. So we would need to add an extra element that just makes it even more exciting. And the outdoor element is cool, but it makes it very difficult. So a video becomes, something you do in a studio in 2 days would take you a week outside because the light, because this, because that. So that just becomes, 5 times more expensive. And that's
I got your perfect next scenario. All right. You get a big, 100-gallon, pool, right? Get a great white shark, put a glass thing over it, and put the pool table right on top. If you miss the shot, you drop into the water.
Oh, God.
It doesn't sound good.
He's like, no.
A great shark suit guy.
It probably won't work.
But don't worry, we got a guy who makes shark armor, so
Yeah.
you send that out, you'll be fine.
Are you worried though with the expanding of it? If it might become too you put your life into this, this is something that means a lot to you. And let's say with music, now whether you make rock or rap, some of it's a gimmick. Are you worried that people might take the trick shots to a level where it just becomes kind of a gimmick?
Well, it's already kind of the case. I mean, we got a few people, they get here and there sort of viral as well. And I'm looking at the shots. I'm like, man, I was doing that 10 years ago. And then,
do you comment on the YouTube video of that?
Dude, I could do it in my sleep or one-handed. Sad it is, but
Is it from 2010?
Do you ever address it? Do you ever confront the people or you kind of just lay low and let them do their thing?
No, not really. I lay low because you're not here to destroy. I mean, I think it's everything that helps the game, right? The only thing that really does bother me is when somebody claims my shots as their invention. But what are you gonna do? You're not gonna be able to copyright 10,000 shots. I mean, who cares anyway? And then from there, there's so many little variation that you could come up with by adding a ball, removing a ball. So it's just what it is. It's part of the game. So, but happy for the contribution as long as I can make a living with it. It's so fine to me. So
now, what's the proudest shot you have? The record you hold? I know you did the 24-hour thing, but one that you really did not think you could pull off, and it just took hours of practice, and you did it.
I don't know. I got a few shots. They're really nuts, I'd say, and they usually involve some sort of third dimension that's not on the pool table. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Dude Perfect videos, but in the second. There's a pool table on a second floor type thing. I shoot a cue ball in the air, then I shoot it off the air. It goes down, and then he probably, I don't know how many feet he rolls out, probably 60, 70 feet into a little golf hole, right? And that took probably 2 hours to just trying, and it's just, you got to be so close every time to get lucky, right? Because it's just to get, but the skill part is try to be as accurate as possible to make it as many times close to the zone, and then you got to get lucky. So that just could have never happened, but it did happen. So that's pretty cool, and nobody's ever going to do it again. So.
And is there one that you're working on now that you want to do, or you can't master that you've been trying for a while?
Not really. I mean, they just kind of come in. I always have a book that I've got some shot that gonna work or not gonna work, but. Right now my main idea, I guess, would be whenever the world goes back to normal to try to do some snooker trick shots maybe. But, obviously you got to travel and find tables and all that stuff. So it's a little complicated right now.
What have you been doing during this time? Have you been able to have any tournaments without fans or anything like that?
No, we don't have any stuff like that. I mean, my main business is basically doing shows, so you need people for that. You need venues. So right now this has been a little tough. Lucky enough, I have another business. I own a pool league in Las Vegas. We have about 700 players. They play every week. So as long as this is starting, it keeps me pretty busy. I tell you that.
Yeah.
And then all the social media posting, the videos and stuff like that. So yeah, it's every day 12 hours worked every day. So.
You might know this. Has the Olympic Committee ever reached out for pool to become an Olympic sport?
I was part of that actually. Last year, 2 years ago? It was Paris 24 campaign. I even did a show in the Eiffel Tower, and there was a bunch of the big names, all the newspaper. So we had a great candidacy actually that I've seen the file, and that was a massive file. The industry actually worked together for once. But comes down to money, and what happened in our case is Red Bull was pushing really hard for breakdance, and I think it was rock climbing or something like that, and they just have the money, and the CI, the Olympic Committee just went for whoever the money is, and instead of pool, which is a century-old sport, they went for breakdance in the Olympics, which makes no sense. When they're
So weird.
garbage too, like they didn't even care because they're more about freedom and stuff like that, and didn't even want to be like in a sport like that. But yeah, it comes down to big business and big money. So it's actually twice I've got a sort of a bad interaction with Red Bull and stuff like that. So.
Do you think it'll ever become one in the future? Maybe.
It's got all the elements for it. I mean, we're all around the world. We actually pool is the third most played sport in the world. Most people in the world have played pool than hockey or U.S. football or even baseball. I mean, it's literally everywhere, right? So it's got all those elements. The only problem is there's no money at the top. And there's no lobbying or something like that. But they were hoping that if Paris didn't work, which is the case, that LA could work in 2028, I think, because of the American roots. But I don't know if the candidacy is even going right now with everything that's going on. So
I got one last question for you, I swear to God. Now, this is exclusive. The Olympics come. Who do you represent, America or France?
Well, when we did the file, obviously it was for France because there was. But here right now it would be tough, man. It's tough because whenever they have the Mosconi Cup, US versus Europe, I can't really root anymore for anybody. It's just it's tough.
That'd be hard. That'd be a hard decision.
Well, I love that country. So to be honest, there's a reason I left France for, and it's as much as we have some cool stuff. Some of the other stuff is. I would have never been able to become what I became, in France ever. So I love this country, and hopefully it stays as we can keep it going. That's just a little worrying in those times currently, but
Is there anybody that you got to meet or any experience that you got to have that you just were like stunned by, or something that was just very surprising to you?
I've done some crazy stuff. So I've done some movie done double, Ben Stiller, stuff like that. But I think I've done a show for the president of Malta, stayed in the palace out there, which is pretty cool too. But I think the greatest one was I did a show for the Prince of Dubai. That was nuts. So that was like the true thing you see in the movie. The guy brings in you in a Rolls Royce. You go in the palace, got like 7 houses, one from each wife, tigers and all that stuff. That pool table in that big ass room, and you see all those guys. You don't really know them, right? But they're all laying on couches. They're not even sitting up or whatever. Gotta do your thing, and you got to play the guy, and then they tell you, well, you got to let him kind of make a few balls. Don't humiliate me, right? I was like, am I gonna die if I miss it or what? So that was a little stressful, but then they decided if he likes it or not. The guy looked like he was so bored. He's seen everything in his life, you know what I mean? So. It's just, and then I think after that he was like, oh, let's go see a movie. Like 1 a.m, they opened a movie theater for him. That's true power.
What movie did you see? What movie did you see?
I don't even remember. It was just true power. It's just.
So if we started this interview just laying on couches, just watching you, you'd be totally comfortable. Then you've done that before.
Probably. I'll just be like, whatever. I'll do it.
A movie? What Ben Stiller movie, by the way?
What's that?
What Ben Stiller movie were you?
Man, I can't remember what movie was that. It wasn't a big one. It was just a small scene for one of his things. Can't remember. It was a comedy, obviously. Man, I can't remember.
I'm gonna Google Ben Stiller playing.
Yeah, it's not even him. I think he was doubling for somebody else, but he was the producer or something like that. So that's cool. Yeah.
Brian, Eric, anything?
Were you afraid if you hit too many balls that they would like hurt you? That sounds terrifying. I can't get over that. Everyone's just laying down. I picture them smoking hookah, just petting a tiger, and you're like, yeah.
I mean, you got to think the ceremonium that comes with it is kind of crazy too, right? Because you got to take your shoes off, this and that, and then you got to, you can't do certain things. It's just part of it. But the guy is like, powerful. It's just so powerful that. It just
basically what sucks is with the snap of a finger you could be taken out of there and killed.
Pretty much, yeah. And the guy that brought me there is like, well, if he likes you, maybe we'll give you a nice gift or something. And I was like, sweet. I didn't get shit though, so I guess I wasn't.
That's funny. Well, you left with your life, so you're...
Yeah, you're good. And you had a story to tell. All right, Florian, before we let you go, we do a final segment. We do a gun to your head segment. So we ask a couple questions, and you got to answer them, and you pick the best question at the end, okay? The one of your favorites. Is that all right? You ready for this?
Sure. Yep.
All right, Eric, you go first.
Would you rather get hit by a pool ball or get beat up in a swimming pool brawl?
Definitely the pool ball. Got it done already, so.
Okay, I wasn't gonna ask this next one, but since you're in Vegas, would you rather never make an 8-ball in a pocket again or get caught by the cops with an 8-ball? Cocaine.
Definitely get caught by the cops.
Okay. All right.
All right, I'll go next. All right, I went with the pool theme as well. Would you rather never scratch again or never be able to scratch an itch?
That's tough.
I know.
I might take the itch out there, yeah.
Yeah, all right, sounds good. All right, would you rather know every magic trick ever or hold the record for every pool trick shot ever?
Magic trick seems like I'd make more money.
Well, all right, that's fair enough. Brian, you're up.
Would you rather smell like pool cleaner or be a pool boy for a week?
Pool cleaner. Pool boy. I don't even mind it.
Yeah, why would you?
All right. Would you rather be in a duel using pool cues or only be able to speak using cue cards?
Pool cue's fine.
He's in
A duel to the
It
death.
hurts. I've seen it done. It hurts.
Gilly, you have any or no?
No, I don't have any good ones. They just told me about this before the show. I was gonna say something about having felt for fingertips, so the only thing you feel is felt, but I'm not smart enough or funny enough to come up with anything connection with that.
Florian, what's your favorite question? We take this serious, so you got to pick a winner here.
Ooh. The 8-ball was funny, man.
Damn it,
Yeah, there you go, Swag.
Eric with a nice
The 8-ball was funny because that's just so big there.
Yeah, I know. You know your audience. Thank you.
Hey, Florian, really quick before we let you go, where can we catch you? Plug your Instagram, your website, or anything.
Well, pretty much anywhere. Just type Venom Trick Shots, but Facebook, I think it's at Venom Trick Shots Official. Instagram at Venom Trick Shots. YouTube at Venom Trick Shots. And then I think I just started a TikTok because I was forced to in this, dumb thing, but whatever. I got no choice. Same thing, Venom Trick Shot Official, I think. And yeah.
Hey man, this is really cool. It's really different from stuff we do. Really insightful to see how cutthroat the pool industry is. So
It is.
we really thank you for coming on, buddy. And
Pleasure, guys,
if you ever come out to the East Coast to do a show, let us know. And
I'm almost every year on the East Coast. Where are you guys at?
New Jersey.
We're in Jersey because I've been everywhere. So
Central. We're like 40 minutes from New York.
okay, New York's a little more rare, but I mean New Jersey. You've been there a few times. I can't even trying to find the names. I'm Connecticut. I've been everywhere. Massachusetts.
And when you come to Jersey, Atlantic City to do like a pool show, let us know, man.
That's actually usually there's a thing in Atlantic City every year. So
Okay. Yeah.
Definitely make it down and come see it. Let us know.
What's the usual vibe for those shows? Is it like a crazy scene? Is it very quiet, like tennis and polite and all of that, or?
No, I hate that actually, but now you already know me. So I like to make fun of people basically. So take it like a one-man show, pool oriented a little bit.
Nice.
And putting, girls on the table like we do in the video, we put people, right, and normal people and make fun of guys and then shoot a cue ball into his nuts or stuff like that. Your usual, but it's basically an hour and people laugh a lot and you don't even need to be a pool player to actually enjoy it. So
Cool. Awesome.
obviously I can adjust it to kids, no kids, but I would say, there might be some language involved and all that stuff, people wearing wigs, fake boobs, stuff like that,
It sounds like a hell of a time. I can't wait to see it.
Exactly how
It's fun. It really is. So